And then every time we said goodbye, we made sure we said a good, thorough, full goodbye, because we knew at any moment it could actually be the last goodbye.
Also hearing tonight from Will Smith's father, interviewed in North Carolina. He says he doubts his son.
Jaden Smith is fighting for his life. Tumors, multiple organs, a diagnosis no one saw coming, and a father who built an empire just to feel like he's losing everything that actually matters. Will Smith has faced public humiliation.
Actor Will Smith offered a public apology to Chris Rock for smacking the comedian during the Oscar ceremony. This is the body that oversees the awards.
A crumbling marriage and a slap heard around the world. But none of that broke him. This did. Doctors dismissed the pain for months. By the time the scans came back, spine, lungs, kidneys, liver, it was already spreading. Will hasn't just gone quiet. He's said something that has his entire fan base deeply worried. What exactly did he say? And what does Jaden's diagnosis really mean for this family? Stay with us, because what we're about to reveal will leave you speechless. The injury that nobody took seriously. It started as something small, something so ordinary that most parents would not think twice about it. In early September, Jaden Smith was playing recreational football with friends. He took a hit on the field, nothing unusual for a young, active guy. He shook it off. He went home. He seemed fine. But within days, something changed. The pain came back. First, in his back, then in his legs, then headaches that would not stop. Jada Pinkett Smith later described it as watching her son go from completely normal to completely broken in a matter of weeks. She took him to the doctor. They said muscle strain. They gave him paracetamol and told him to rest. Jada brought him back when the pain got worse. This time they mentioned a possible urinary tract infection. Then they used that phrase that doctors often throw out when they do not have a real answer: growing pains. Growing pains for a 27-year-old man. And here is the thing about that phrase. It sounds harmless. It sounds like a doctor being careful, being measured, not wanting to alarm a worried mother unnecessarily. But what it actually does, what it did in Jaden's case, is close a door. Once a doctor puts a label on something, the investigation stops. The urgency disappears. The patient goes home and waits. Jaden waited, and every single day that passed, his body was telling a different story than the one the doctors had written down. He stopped sleeping through the night. The pain would wake him up sharp, deep, the kind of pain that does not respond to rest or basic medication. Jada later recalled moments where Jaden could not eat properly, could not sit comfortably, could not do the things a healthy 7-year-old should be able to do without thinking. The young man who had spent his life performing on screen, on stage, in music studios, was now confined to managing pain that nobody seemed to take seriously enough. She went back to the doctors. Again and again. Each visit produced a slightly different theory, but the same basic outcome: go home, rest, give it time. At one point, emergency room doctors suspected a urinary tract infection and treated accordingly. The pain did not improve. It got worse. Medical experts have since pointed out how dangerous that label can be. Dr. Elena Vasquez, an oncologist at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, told CNN Health,
"One of the largest deliverers of healthcare on the West Coast. We run a large primary care network."
That persistent pain after an injury, especially when it keeps getting worse, needs proper imaging right away. Not weeks later. Not months later. Right away. But the Smith family was told to wait. And they waited. 3 agonizing months passed before they were able to get an MRI. 3 months of Jaden, unable to sleep. 3 months of screaming in pain. 3 months of a mother watching her son deteriorate while doctors kept sending them home. What makes that number 3 months so hard to sit with is what it represents. This was not a family without access. This was not a family without money, without connections, without the ability to walk into any hospital in the country and demand answers. Will Smith is one of the most recognizable men alive. The scans that changed everything. On November 26th, Will and Jada stopped asking. They demanded. They pushed for advanced imaging and MRI. And this time, they were not leaving without answers. 2 days later, on November 28th, the results came back. The scans showed tumors in Jaden's spine, spleen, kidneys, liver, lungs, and stomach. Not one, not two, multiple tumors. Scattered across multiple organs, sources close to the family described the moment as completely earth-shattering. Will Smith, a man who has played heroes on screen for decades, stood in that room and felt completely helpless, visibly shaken. But according to people around him, he did not fall apart. He went quiet. And then, he went into fight mode. The diagnosis, confirmed by specialists, points to a possible aggressive form of cancer. But the exact type was still under investigation. Biopsies had been ordered. The medical team was working fast. Jada, meanwhile, was already speaking publicly, not to protect the family's image, but to protect other families from going through the same thing. She posted on Instagram, calling their experience a wake-up call for everyone who has ever been dismissed by the medical system. The response was immediate. Millions of people flooded the comments, because so many of them had been through the exact same thing. A pain that was dismissed. A diagnosis that came too late. A doctor who said, "Wait." Jaden's story was not just his story anymore. Who is Jaden Smith? And why this hits so hard? To understand why this diagnosis hit so hard, you have to understand who Jaden Smith actually is. He was born in July 1998, the son of one of the most famous men on the planet. From childhood, cameras were already pointed at him. At 8 years old, he starred opposite his father Will in The Pursuit of Happiness. That single performance showed the world that this kid was not just riding his father's coattails, he had something real. At 12, he headlined The Karate Kid remake opposite Jackie Chan. The film earned over $350 million worldwide. At 16, he and Will co-starred in After Earth. But Jaden was never just an actor. He was also a musician. His 2017 track Icon became a genuine hit, racking up hundreds of millions of streams. He collaborated with artists like Justin Bieber. He built a fashion brand. He spoke openly about philosophy, consciousness, and living outside social norms. He was different. He wore gender-fluid clothing before it was widely accepted.
Another prom means another chance for Jaden Smith to rock a new look.
This time, the Karate Kid star chose a dress to wear to prom with actress Amanda Stenberg.
He said things that confused people, but made them think. He walked his own path, even when that path was messy and public. In 2019, Jada revealed on Red Table Talk that Jaden's restrictive vegan diet had taken a serious toll on his health. His skin had turned gray. He was severely nutrient deficient. Will and Jada brought in doctors. They staged an intervention. Jaden adjusted. That moment showed something important about this family. They talk about hard things. They do not hide. So when news of Jaden's diagnosis broke, it did not feel like celebrity gossip. It felt personal. Because for years, Jaden had let people into his world, and now his world was in crisis. Will Smith's goodbye. What he actually said. Will Smith has always been the guy who smiles through the pain. From his childhood in West Philadelphia, where he watched his father abuse his mother, to the Oscar stage, where he did something that shocked the entire world. Will has spent most of his life performing strength, performing happiness, performing fine. But after Jaden's diagnosis, the performance stopped. In a brief statement to People magazine, Will said, "We are fighters. Jaden's spirit is unbreakable, and we will get through this together." Short words, but the weight behind them was enormous, because people who know Will, who have followed his journey through his 2021 memoir, through Red Table Talk moments.
Red Table, for me, just all the stuff that's going on in the press. I felt like it was important to come to the table to really clear the air.
Through interviews where he broke down crying, understood what those words really meant. He was not performing. He was holding on. Will has spoken publicly about how losing his father in 2016 broke something in him. His father, a violent alcoholic, who also attended every school play, every movie premiere, every recording session, died from cancer. Will drove to Philadelphia to say goodbye. His father passed before he arrived. Now, cancer is in his family again. This time, it is his son. The goodbye in the title of this video is not about Will leaving. It is about a father staring at his worst fear and refusing to let it win. It is about a man who has made every mistake a human being can make publicly, choosing to show up for his child in a way that nothing else in his life prepared him for. The fans felt it. Social media felt it. Hashtags like "Pray for Jaden" trended worldwide. Justin Bieber, who recorded music with Jaden, sent a personal message. Zendaya posted words of support. The outpouring was unlike anything the Smith family had experienced. And they have experienced a lot. What comes next? Treatment. Hope. A family that refuses to break. Medical teams at the treatment facility are now fast-tracking Jaden's care. The options on the table include surgery to address the affected areas, chemotherapy, and newer targeted therapies that have shown results in cases involving multiple organ involvement. Biopsies are ongoing to pinpoint the exact type and behavior of the cancer cells, because not all cancers respond to the same treatments. Dr. Vasquez, speaking generally about cases like Jaden's to CNN Health, she noted that even when cancer spreads across multiple organs, early intervention, even when delayed, can still make a meaningful difference. Advances in oncology over the last decade have changed survival outcomes dramatically for certain cancer types. That is the hope. And the Smith family is holding on to it. Jada has been the most vocal. In a message to her followers, she called this a wake-up call. Not just for her family, but for every person who has ever been sent home with a dismissive diagnosis. She has spoken about fighting for better healthcare awareness, for making sure that patients, especially young patients, are taken seriously when they say something is wrong. Will has stayed quieter, but his presence has been felt. Sources close to the family say he has not left Jaden's side. Trey Smith, Will's eldest son from his first marriage, has also reportedly been in contact with the family during this time. Willow Smith, Jaden's younger sister, who has been open about her own struggles with identity and mental health, has stayed close to her brother. For all the drama, all the public scandal, all the headlines this family has generated over the years, this moment is different. This is not a red carpet. This is not a talk show. This is a family, gathered around one of their own, refusing to give up. And somehow, after everything, the slap, the separation, the entanglement, the memoir confessions, watching Will Smith fight for his son might be the most human thing he has ever done. on camera or off it. Fame and family pain. To understand why this family is the way it is, you have to go back to the beginning. Will Smith's father, Willard Carroll Smith, Sr., was both a provider and a monster. He worked 3 jobs to keep his family fed. He attended every school play, every game, every performance. He was present in every way that a father should be. He was also a violent alcoholic. Will was 9 years old when he watched his father hit his mother hard enough to make her collapse. In his 2021 memoir, Will wrote about that moment in detail, the confusion.
Will Smith, a megastar showing us a side of himself we've never seen before, discussing his early life and his upcoming memoir. You hung out in Philly with him?
The fear, the destruction of his entire sense of safety. The man he loved most in the world was also the man causing the most harm. That contradiction never fully healed. Will spent decades trying to understand how to love someone who also hurt people. He carried that wound into every relationship he ever had. His first marriage to Sheree Zampino in 1992 ended in divorce 3 years later. Their son, Trey, was not yet 3 years old.
This is so sweet, guys. Will Smith getting a little teary-eyed, talking about his oldest son, Trey, and how far their relationship has come. Take a look at this Instagram post.
Will has spoken openly about the guilt he carried over that divorce, about the fear of repeating his own father's absence. In his 1998 song, Just the Two of Us, he rapped directly to Trey, a public promise to stay present. But Trey still grew up feeling the distance. In a 2018 podcast interview, he said there was a period in his early teens when he did not want to be known as Will Smith's son anymore. He wanted his own identity. Fame had taken his father from him in a way that divorce alone could not. In 1997, Will married Jada Pinkett Smith. They had already been close friends for years. Jada had originally auditioned for a role on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and did not get it. Their chemistry was real. Their love was real. But the foundation had cracks. Jada did not believe in conventional marriage. She came from a family where unconventional relationships were normal. Will pushed for marriage anyway. Jada agreed not because she wanted to, but because he did. In his memoir, Will described that decision as Jada sacrificing her own values to make him happy. The marriage started with a compromise that cost her something she believed in. Over the years, both of them grew in different directions. By 2016, they had quietly separated, though they did not announce it publicly.
Was that in 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives.
Until 2023, 7 years of living separately, co-parenting, and maintaining the appearance of a marriage that had already ended in private. In between, there was the August Alsina situation. In 2020, Alsina publicly confirmed a romantic relationship with Jada, saying Will had given his blessing. The news exploded. Will and Jada sat down on Red Table Talk to address it. Jada used the word entanglement. Will repeated it back to her. His face said everything his words did not. Then came March 27, 2022. At the 94th Academy Awards, comedian Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's shaved head, a reference to her alopecia, the condition that causes hair loss. Will walked onto the stage and slapped him, live, in front of millions. Less than an hour later, Will won the Oscar for Best Actor for King Richard, his portrayal of Venus and Serena Williams' father. In his tearful acceptance speech, he talked about being called to love people and protect people. The world watched in silence. In the aftermath, Will was banned from Academy events for 10 years. His reputation built over 4 decades cracked in 9 seconds. What the slap actually was, beneath all the analysis and debate, was simple. It was a man whose entire life had been defined by trauma, by performed strength, by holding everything in finally breaking. Not in a therapy session, not in a memoir, on the biggest stage in Hollywood. Will Smith is not a villain. He is not a hero. He is a person who grew up broken and tried to build something whole, and sometimes failed publicly and badly. The same way most people fail, just with cameras pointed at them. And now, in the middle of all that history, his son is sick. Jaden Smith, who spent his entire childhood performing for cameras, who struggled to find his own identity outside of his father's shadow, who once looked so depleted, his own mother called a doctor in tears, is fighting something that no amount of fame or wealth or celebrity can fix. The Smith family has every material thing a family could want, and none of it made them whole. That is the truth this story keeps coming back to. Success does not heal trauma. Fame does not fix dysfunction. And money cannot buy peace. But love, real love, the kind that shows up at a hospital bed and stays, that might be the one thing this family has always had, beneath all the noise. And right now, that is exactly what Jaden needs. Jaden Smith's story is not just about one family. It is about every family that has ever been dismissed, overlooked, or told to wait when something was seriously wrong. It is about a father who has made real, public, painful mistakes, choosing to show up when it matters most. And it is about a young man, still figuring out who he is, now facing something that will test every part of him. We are rooting for Jaden. We are rooting for this family. If this video moved you, if it made you think or feel, or pick up the phone and call someone you love, then it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Hit the like button. Subscribe. If you are new here, we cover real stories that actually matter. Drop a comment below and tell us your thoughts. Your prayers, your words, they reach further than you think. We will see you in the next one.